Okay, presentation. Oh, presentation video. Presentation video. We'll use this one. Okay, we're recording this. So, Christina, can you join us also? Okay. Well, let's try. For everybody on the call today, can you please type in if you can hear us? Good. Okay, I definitely can hear Jenny, but anybody else, can you hear us?
Awesome.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So, Christina, you'll be as guest today, and we'll handle it ourselves. So, I will then start. Thank you, everybody. It was kind of 2-minute wrap up. We have more people joining. While that happens, let me switch to the topic today. So, we will talk about NewsBreak and how NewsBreak helps media buyers to run amazing ads for their lead generation campaigns. And also we'll cover a bit what RedTrack has to do in all this. So without further ado, let's jump to it. So this is what we'll be talking today. This is the agenda for the slides. So, Jenny, tell us about NewsBreak.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hi everyone. Let me quickly just introduce myself. My name is Jenny, and I am an account manager from NewsBreak. I would like to say NewsBreak is a highly potential platform to run your ads. NewsBreak is actually the #1 most downloaded news app in the US right now. It's serving local news to, everyone in the US in different zip code, different areas. And we have 40 million monthly active users. Our users are highly engaging, and we built our NewsBreak platform prioritizing performance in mind. And yeah, I would say lead gen is one of our top performing verticals on our platform. So if everyone knows about lead gen offers, we know that tracking and having accurate tracking data passback is very, very important.
Thank you. So, as for the RedTrack, well, we've been helping media buyers track the campaigns for more than 6 years now. Recently, with the big surprise for us, we learned that we actually not only affiliate tracking tool or e-com tracking tool, we're also lead gen campaigns tracking tool, and a lot of people who use us, they primarily do lead gen. So what RedTrack helps media buyers with is, I think, primarily they own the data of their performance campaigns from click to conversion in one place. And by owning this data, they allow it to them to build granular reports, to push this data to their own BIs, or to use RedTrack not only as tracking, but also as media buying automation tool. In the end, RedTrack is built for media buyers with the goal to remove routine and repetitive operations from their daily activities, from helping them making insights from their reports to turn those insights into actions through automation tools. And this is pretty much about RedTrack. So, Jenny, I think that's your part, and you know why most lead gen campaigns fail to scale.
Yeah, so most of the lead gen campaigns fail to scale on our platform when we're not launching the best practice with the best practice in mind. It's really important to follow the best practice on our platform, especially making sure that we're setting up accurate tracking events ahead of time, using the right bidding strategy, using all the tools such as reporting tools, marketing tools that we have on our platform to build the successful campaign. On top of that, marketers struggle with attribution across multiple touch points. And budget are often wasted on poor tracking visibility, wasting your budget on certain campaigns that we don't have high visibility on the performance. We don't know if it's doing well, but we're continue feeding budget into it. Unable to identify which campaign actually drive quality conversions, and scaling winners become kind of a guesswork for everyone without the proper tracking and data in place.
Good. So I will add 2 cents on my side to this. Is recently in RedTrack here we are learning through the very popular book called Extreme Ownership. Tons of gems in there, but a couple of things are important. Is keep things simple and follow standard operating procedures. So in anything you do, even if it's ads that should be creative, there are standards, basic things you should follow. If you follow them, your campaigns will deliver. Then it's your creative that can make them stellar and take it to the next level. If you don't follow the standard operating procedures for running ads for NewsBreak, your campaigns are likely to fail, or at least fail to scale. And that's, for me, it's probably the same, because why run campaigns that you cannot scale?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what would be the tips?
There's 3 simple tips to help you find success with lead gen offers with NewsBreak. So the first most important step is to make sure that we're setting up the campaign for success by selecting the most accurate industry level, bid type, sufficient budget, and making sure that all of these are done for the best learning for our campaign. So on the right side, you'll be able to see that these are some of the drop downs. You're able to select your industry level. We want to select it as close to what you're going to be running as possible. We want to make sure we're selecting the right bid type for your offer. And oftentimes, bid type plays an important role. If you have dynamic payout, target ROAS will be great. If you have static payout, then max conversion and TCPA will be the best bidding method. And for the second step is to make sure that we're reviewing early data and making proper adjustments early on to the campaign. This means passing back multiple event data via Pixel and set up via Pixel, and then set up post back for the most accurate reporting with the platform. So what we would highly recommend is to use Pixel for tracking, and then install both Pixel and Postback for tracking purpose. And then while Pixel are passing back multiple events to us where we collect multiple data point along the way, so we're able to better optimize the model to help your campaign find more success. And then the most accurate reporting would be via Postback. And additionally, it's highly, highly recommended for you to also pass back gender, age, and email data for us to identify high value users to convert for your offer. And I think passing back the conversion data works like we highly recommend to pass back high value conversions. So let's say you're running a campaign and some of your regular leads worth about $5 but then your qualified lead actually worth $50. Obviously, we want more qualified leads rather than just a regular lead. So at this spot, we would recommend to pass back the $50 high value lead to us. And so this helped our model map, what kind of user tend to be the qualified user that able to convert into a qualified lead. After we've identified that, we'll be able to help your campaign optimize towards it automatically, so that we'll be going after all the users that are able to give us the high quality leads.
Good. And the tip number 3.
And yeah, the last but not least, step 3 is to set up your campaign structure and your campaign properly. So what we usually recommend is to set up your one campaign or few campaigns that are targeting as broad as possible. These will act as kind of your base campaign. After your base campaign have been set up and it's constantly collecting data, conversion data and everything, After your base campaign have been running for a while, we would recommend you to go into the audience insight report to pull some audience insight data that gives you insight on what kind of what gender is converting well, what age group is converting well, what are some of the OS and location of people that are converting well for you. After you're able to get these important insight, you will be able to select create additional new ad sets to target those specific groups using our audience targeting tool.
Great. So,
and for some additional tips for successful in lead gen is to have a good campaign structure setup. So what's the best practice setup and for NewsBreak? First is we want to make sure that tracking is set up correctly. And that means that we're setting up Pixel for firing leads and Postback for reporting. Second one is for regular leads, for regular offers that have static payouts, you can use submit form as the tracking event. However, for static payout offers, so that means you're getting, different quality lead, you get different payout, I would recommend to set it up with a complete payment event and pass back the event value to us. This allows you to utilize our target ROAS bidding strategy. And the target ROAS bidding strategy will automatically optimize towards the higher payout users. And some of the recommended bidding strategies include starting off with max conversion to collect as many leads and as many conversion data as possible. After learning phase is complete, we switch it over to target CPA or target ROAS to control the cost a little better. And right here on the slide, I put a little reference on the most optimal campaign structure on our platform. So we would usually recommend to set up 1 campaign, 2 ad set, and 3 ads. The general rule of thumb for testing on NewsBreak is less is more. You don't want to bombard the platform with a ton of ads, a ton of images. We want to pick the top image. After you've set up about a few ad sets with the top images, always go in and turn off the underperforming ads so you're not wasting any money, any additional budget on ads that are underperforming. And here's some of the creative strategies for our platform. So some of the top verticals that's currently running on NewsBreak includes HELOC, home warranty, home services, insurance, and finance offer. So if you have any of these offers, highly recommend to give them a test on NewsBreak, as our user group or our demographic group works very well with these offers and converts very well with these offers. Our demographic consists of 45 plus, which is the older demographic. We're skewed slightly towards female. Most of them have a family, owns a house, owns a car. So a lot of these offers work really well with the demographic that we have on our app. Some of the creative strategies that we would recommend, which I give a few examples on the side for reference, is make sure we're testing both videos, images, and GIFs. We support all 3 types of creatives. And for each type of creative, there's a unique kind of angle that we would usually recommend or see working really well at the moment. For videos, we would recommend vertical videos. Most of them that are working well are UGC style. We tend to see older avatar or older speaker in the video tend to work better, since it speaks better with the audience that we have. For images, we usually see more success with horizontal images. So before and after images for home improvement, home surfaces, before and after roofing or bathroom remodels. And then last but not least, we also support GIFs, and GIFs are actually really good at capturing attention of the user. We usually see success with time-lapse GIFs on our platform. And then one very important thing we want to highlight while you're setting up your creatives is to utilize our dynamic copywriting. That means we have our city and state macro to make the title and overall the ad to be more local, to fit better in with, the news articles that are serving, above or below your ad. But the general rule of thumb is make sure you're grabbing the attention of the users while keeping the ad copy aligned with the product that you're promoting.
Great. Thank you so much. So just to recap, these were the basically standard operating procedures how to run ads with NewsBreak. And to be honest, this was a big aha moment for me as well. We're working for many years, but I just realized that whenever somebody classifies NewsBreak as native ad platform, then I tried. You actually are more keen to Meta or TikTok because you're audience-based platform, and that's what should be very clearly remembered here. This is extremely important. The difference is when you run like native ads, you actually target towards placements. So conversions are important, but your targeting is extremely important, what you do as a media buyer. With NewsBreak, it's audience-based advertising. And by the way, your audience is awesome. From my agency days, that's what everybody wants to target when selling multiple products, or at least
Yes.
broad range of products. So why it's important to realize that NewsBreak is an audience-based platform, not native platform, because it all comes down to the ability of NewsBreak algorithm to find the best impressions that will convert to your offer. And this is why all those procedures are about. For example, campaign structure. Don't complicate things, because if you keep them very straightforward, that structure, one campaign, 2 ads, 3 ads, is most likely to get how NewsBreak AI works, processing the data and finding those best spots of the audience. The data, like first, give us max conversions. So we pinpoint the broader segment of the audience, then switch to value-based targeting, because in that broader segment, we as NewsBreak, you as NewsBreak pinpointed, we now can find the people who do the high-value conversions and narrow it down further. So these things, they really make NewsBreak stand up from other platforms that are considered native advertising platforms, because no, you're not. You are audience-based advertising, and this is my amazing insight. It was a surprise.
Yeah.
So, good. Now, case studies that are working. I guess I'll just jump straight to the slide with the case study.
Yeah, absolutely. So wanted to show you guys a few success cases with NewsBreak, running lead gen offers. So the first one is a window replacement lead gen offer that's doing really well. This is also one of the top verticals that's currently running on our platform at the moment. I know right now, we're at the end of Q2, currently in Q3, beginning of Q3. This is when home improvement tend to be very huge. The right seasonality for home improvement offers. So I wanted to highlight this for you guys. So some of the success strategy that they've used is using a mix of max conversion and TCPA bidding strategy. So we want to make sure that we're using a mix of the bidding strategy. So max conversion is the more aggressive bidding strategy, while the TCPA is more conservative. We want to use the two at the same time so that we're able to find a balance. Max conversion focuses on getting as many conversions in the shortest amount of time, while the TCPA bidding strategy ad sets are able to help balance out the cost. The second one, which is the most important in terms of targeting, is utilizing zip code targeting when you're running some of the home improvements. Ideally, we want a large zip code file targeting to maximize the range, and also take advantage of our dynamic city and state macro to make the ad more local to the users. And last but not least, we want to run very bold and scroll stopping creatives. We want to have a very interesting hook or images that just looks bizarre. Some of the successful creatives that I've seen people run are like a ton of windows stacked on top of each other, and the image, when users are looking and scrolling through the feed, looking at news, when they suddenly see images like those, it just catches their attention. So very important to not use regular stock image. We want to make the image as candid and as natural as possible to blend well with the rest of the content on the app.
Great. And just as a small break between all those case studies, Jen is really throwing value gems both in procedures and outcomes of media buyers doing that. If you have questions, write them down now in the chat, because there might be more than one. So then it will help you to have them noted and us to prepare to answer them. So next case study.
Yeah, and then another case study that we have, which is also one of our top auto lead gen advertiser. Auto is also huge, and we definitely see auto offers have been scaling very rapidly in the last few months. And the strategy for success when it comes to auto is a little different than your regular home improvement lead gen offers. We want to test a large volume of distinct creatives across multiple campaigns and ad set. This means that we're testing both videos, horizontal images, GIFs, all of these. And all images need to be distinct and different from each other within the ad account so that the model knows not to, when you're running the same image within the same ad account, the model will be like, oh, we be able to identify that they're the same image, but then they will make the two image compete against each other, which will drive the cost up. So we want to avoid running images or videos that are exactly the same within the ad account. I know this is a little bit of a different best practice compared to your other usual native platforms like Meta or TikTok, where they actually encourage you to run the same image and just keep duplicating it. In our case, we want the model to do most of the work for you instead of you having to manually go in and do the duplication. So that's how we build our model off of. And we want to, make sure NewsBreak is a model. NewsBreak's platform is easy to use, and you don't have to constantly go back and refresh your creative. So that's what our algorithm is built for. And then second one is to use target CPA bidding strategy throughout, paired with a good amount of budget. We want to make sure we have sufficient amount of budget, especially in the beginning learning phase, so that the ad set and the campaign have sufficient room to learn and collect, the proper conversion data to be passed back and let the model optimize. And last but not least, we want to make sure to use diverse UGC style videos to open up with, bold attention grabbing hooks. I saw a question coming in asking how much is sufficient. We usually recommend for target CPA to set your budget as 10 times your CPA goal. And then for max conversion, because max conversion is a much more aggressive bidding strategy that focuses on getting as many conversions as possible while also finishing your budget, we want to set it as 5 times your CPA goal. But in general, we want to make sure that this sufficient budget allow our model to have enough room to learn.
Great. Thank you so much. And guess now it's my part to talk about the other standard operating procedures. But before that, we mentioned the tracking multiple times, how it's important to set it up right. Why the tracking is important. Some really basic things that a lot of us take for granted need to be brought to light to make them evident and focus on them. So what are those basic things? Your funnel starts with impression on NewsBreak. That's where the funnel starts, because the start of the funnel is when somebody from the target audience sees the ad. With RedTrack, we start tracking from the click, and then we take it and collect all the data points all the way to the conversion. And this all the way to the conversion can be your landing pages, the other landing pages, but in the end, the key result is that lead that was captured with lead gen campaign. So your funnel is one way, all the way from impression, where NewsBreak showed it to the audience, goes to the conversion event, which is lead being captured, but then it should make a circle. And that circle is feeding data back from whatever your conversion capturing tool is to RedTrack, and from RedTrack to NewsBreak. So NewsBreak now can learn what works and find the better impressions for the ads And now this circle becomes basically self-reinforcing. So if you have that tracking set up right, you help your ads run better. And that's true for NewsBreak and for other ad networks. And this is something that quite often people think, hey, my funnel is my landing page. And then the conversion went. Or the funnel is the whole thing from the impression to the conversion. And feeding back the conversion data to the point of the impression to the NewsBreak as an ad network. And as Jenny mentioned, it's also important that capturing leads gives you additional leverage compared to many other types of media buying campaigns, because you actually capture lead data. That is email, maybe zip code, maybe age, maybe gender. So RedTrack has the conversion parameter roles for all those values. And we encourage users to collect all those data points with the conversion and to pass them back to NewsBreak. It's not that you can still use the data in RedTrack. We'll hash it. We're still privacy compliant. But what's important that we'll feed it back to NewsBreak. And now NewsBreak, being audience-based platform, will find the people who are highly likely to convert better having this data. So in other words, the tracking comes to having the full funnel, knowing what happens in each step of that funnel. Because if you don't measure it, you actually don't manage it. So you have data. Data helps make decisions. Decisions make you make some changes. And that's basically what you really manage. You manage changing the setups, whether in the ads, in the ad sets, in the audience, on your landing page, maybe something in the conversion end. So this is why the tracking is important. How to make it successful? So first, the key part, and probably is read the manuals. Jenny just explained the very basic standard operating procedures for buying ads on NewsBreak. There are same basic steps for tracking those ads within RedTrack. And if you familiarize yourself with the steps from impression to conversion, and that's basically the manual, then you first most likely have the right setup. Then when something is not working, you actually go to the right team. Because if something's working in RedTrack and you go to NewsBreak, it's actually rather difficult for them to solve. Most likely they will go to us, ask questions, and then it breaks the communication loop because there are too many relays in passing the message, and some key facts may be lost, or maybe right questions would not be asked. So know your funnel, understand the parts of this funnel, and then ask the right team responsible for that step of the funnel, whether it's delivery of ads, capturing clicks, capturing conversions, sending conversions back to RedTrack, sending conversions from RedTrack to NewsBreak. And for that, you also probably, if you want to do the troubleshooting, you want to love the logs, because reports are great for making insights. Logs are good to know what's going on. Have you sent that conversion to RedTrack from where it happened? Do you have the log record? Was it captured by RedTrack? What was the response from RedTrack? Have RedTrack sent the conversion to NewsBreak? Was it successful postback? So when that's working, now we live in the very interesting age. The AI is here, and I've been in the times when internet appeared, and there are things which were called internet companies. You don't hear anybody call themselves internet company, but there was a thing. So right now you hear AI companies, but in some maybe 16 to 18 months, nobody will say, hey, we're an AI company. Everybody will be using AI. Like now everybody's using internet. So ask AI. They are actually really good and to help you troubleshoot things, because sometimes you get the questions. Just don't forget, when you do a prompt, don't forget two magic things. First, you write what you need to solve. Then you add two more points to that. Point number one, ask your preferred language model, please act as a professional prompt engineer and run my question as a prompt done properly. And before doing that, ask all the relevant questions that you want to ask to prepare the best prompt. And this makes asking those questions to AI no breeze, because you basically describe the problem. You don't care about the proper prompt structure. You ask AI to do the prompt structure. And then you ask AI to consider all the additional questions. And it saves you time. Well, if that's not working, we still have humans. So both RedTrack and NewsBreak team is ready to help. And please ask the right team from where we can be of use and of service, and not relay you to up or down the funnel. And that's all the case with troubleshooting and how it turns to real life. These are the most popular questions on the RedTrack side that we receive for NewsBreak. So, and first, how do we send questions from RedTrack to NewsBreak? Well, by following the integration steps. Then you need RedTrack to capture the conversion, and then you need to have a postback set up for a NewsBreak, and then you send the data back to NewsBreak, and you have the record of that in the logs. The most famous or popular question with RedTrack is why my NewsBreak ad spend is not showing RedTrack. Two reasons. Number one, I'm not sure which one would be the priority, but two. One, RedTrack is not capturing the right parameters from NewsBreak. And because it's API, it's still not magic, it's just technology. We don't have the identifier. So we ask NewsBreak for the cost updates, and we receive nothing because we don't know what to ask about. That's why I mentioned, hey, check the logs, love them. You can check the logs, and if you see if you capture all the identifiers from NewsBreak, this part is done. Maybe then the second one is, hey, API integration is not in place. It's just not working. So RedTrack tries to knock where API NewsBreak doors, but there is no API integration, so nothing happens. Third question, what time does it take RedTrack to send a conversion to a NewsBreak? I would say seconds, because how RedTrack is built, we receive the conversion, then we check what we should do with that. Like pick up, if the conversion passes particular value threshold, for example, push it to NewsBreak. We do it immediately. And the question number 4, how fast NewsBreak records this conversion on their site? Jenny, I think it's your call, because I really don't know, and I know that it might depend on multiple factors, so I'll let you address this.
Correct. So I would say oftentimes it's also within seconds. When it's passed back, via RedTrack side, we'll be able to show on the dashboard almost immediately. If you see any kind of delay, most likely there's some error while setting up your tracking. So I would say NewsBreak's on NewsBreak's side, it's also very quickly that it's able to show up on our dashboard, because our model also utilize those data to learn instantaneously and make adjustments to the bidding model. So yeah.
Great. And I have a question, which is about RedTrack Ads Manager and Manage NewsBreak ads. So let me give you a big evidence secret about Ads Manager. It is built to make, like many other tools in RedTrack, to make your life easier. So it's primarily geared at Meta right now. Why? Because in Meta, you run multiple ad accounts. To make any changes like pause an ad or change the bid or budget, you need to log in into Meta. And what Meta does if it sees a new login and doesn't like it, it shuts you down. NewsBreak is amazing because they don't do this. So you actually don't need Ads Manager that much to log in into NewsBreak, because you don't run those complex multi-account structure, multi-logins tool, just to be cautious that you're not banned forever from your account because you decided to go in on your weekend from your home laptop or on vacation while traveling from other geo and just switch that ad off. So we will have API for NewsBreak as well, but the biggest issue is when accounts are being blocked. So we currently built more ways to help you manage other ad networks where it is an issue. Same comes for rules, because RedTrack uses the same set of APIs to connect different ad networks. However, some rules that notify you about things, hey, this ad is performing really well, or this offer converts, or something else, so you're aware instantly of what's going on, yes, you can set them up. Surprisingly, you can even set up AI agent now to notify you about things that happen. We tested, it also works, which we start just to explore. And we consider that most likely in the next, same 6 to 12 months, a lot of operations that had been done through switching on and off buttons will be replaced by doing, hey, just do this for me, please, whatever we'll call our AI in the next 6 months. So hope this answers your question. So we don't have ads manager right now. The reason is because we really don't need it, because NewsBreak being awesome, guys, we don't block your ad accounts for you to log into your ad accounts from unfamiliar location. And that's great. Please, Jenny, keep it this way. It really helps people run their ads.
Yeah.
And we can jump on to the actual Q&A, which was quite a dense information session. We covered a lot in the past 30 minutes. A couple of questions as well. Do we have more?
Feel free to type it in if you have any additional questions. It can be, either addressed to NewsBreak or addressed to RedTrack. We're more than happy to answer it for you.
And we have this format where we don't have to go on camera, we can just type, making it easier. And while we're waiting for those questions to appear, because sometimes it's, maybe someone else have it. Okay, someone is typing, good. I'll start to tell a story. Many years ago, when I was still a teen, I was doing NGO. Okay, good. Jenny, that's for you. The budgets previously mentioned.
So the rule of thumb is if you're using max conversion or max conversion value, which is the more aggressive bidding strategy, set the budget goal as 5 times your CPA. So let's say your CPA goal is $5. Then we would recommend to multiply that by 5, and we want to set it at 25. But usually we would recommend to set the higher the better. If you're able to accept a higher budget, we want to set it the higher the better, so that it's able to get sufficient data. And with a larger budget, it's actually able to help our model run a little bit better with less fluctuation and more stable. On the other hand, if you're running with any target CPA or target ROAS bidding strategies, we would recommend to set it at least 10 times. So that gives your model not only enough room to learn, but also because target CPA and target ROAS are the more conservative bidding strategy, it actually won't spend the full amount of your budget unless your CPA goal is met or your ROAS goal is met. So we want to give it a little bit more of a room to learn.
Great. And I can see more questions coming in. Okay, that was thank you. But to be honest, the audience stays small but mighty. I know that tracking and setting up ads is considered boring. That's why you have tools like RedTrack to remove those boring parts and focus on creative ones, which Jenny mentioned. But to be honest, we have one of the highest participants to questions ratio. So if I get 2 more questions, it will be my ratio best example in the recent years. So can we get 2 more questions? Okay, nice, thank you.
So I see a question asking, is there whitelisting on NewsBreak? So NewsBreak actually are all our first party in-app traffic. So there's no really whitelisting because we don't serve traffic from any other sites or website. So it's just things within the NewsBreak app, which is, all US mobile traffic of users who downloaded the NewsBreak app and looking at the news every day. We don't have whitelisting. However, our model are also built to optimize on its own. So it's very automatic. It will automatically optimize towards the best kind of user group, the best placements, the best age group. So the algorithm is very strong and it's able to do all of those for you instead of doing, manually going in and do any kind of whitelisting.
Amazing. So one more question. This will be great. So do we have, I guess, some more questions? And now the silence will stay here, and we'll try not to break it, at least for some 20 seconds.
Oh, someone's typing.
Yeah, it's a magic. Can you keep silence?
And yeah, and all the questions people have asked have been great so far. So keep them coming.
Yes. Actually, I think always the Q&A is quite an insightful part of any presentation, because we try to share things that are, well, like Jenny did a lot today, to give you those standard steps that bring you to scale. But again, each business is unique, and those questions are the way to ask something that is unique for a business that we never been able to cover. Okay. Again, Jenny,
Yeah.
this is for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good question. So we actually have something called a audience insight report that's built in within our platform, which means that you can look at by organizations, campaigns, accounts. You can break those down into different levels. But basically, the audience insight report gives you data on your campaigns or ad set or organization or accounts on the age, gender, location, and also OS. So we usually recommend using that once, after you're running broad for a while, and you want to, scale up additionally, in addition to your broad targeting campaign. You go in, you create the audience insight report, you look at the data and see what age demographic is doing well, converting well, and then we can set up, additional ad sets on the side running at the same time with a more narrow targeting. But overall, even with the broad targeting campaign or ad set, our algorithm is automatically able to run more towards whatever's converting the best.
Yes, and this reinforces the message that, look, NewsBreak is all about audience targeting. So we need to let the algorithm of NewsBreak do its magic, feeding data.
Mhm.
But then when you accumulate enough data to see the audience insight, you can make the life of NewsBreak algorithm even easier by focusing on narrow audience. So it has less signals to churn through, and it would be better to pick up the right impressions.
Correct. And we usually recommend looking at a larger range of data. So we recommend to look at last 30 days of data when you're looking at specific audience insights, so that you're able to have making your decision off of, a larger sample size. Is there
And
any minimum budget requirement?
please do
So
this, and I have my question also.
okay. Yeah. So I'll answer the is there a minimum budget requirement? So on our platform, we currently recommend, or at least there's no requirement. I believe our requirement is at least $10. But what we would recommend, however, on the other hand, is make sure we're setting the budget. Um, at least 5 times the CPA goal if you're using max conversion, and at least 10 times your CPA goal if you're using target CPA or target ROAS. But in general, the bigger the budget, the better the learning phase. If you start off with a very little budget, very small budget, I would honestly tell you that you might just be wasting those budget, because at the end, you could bump into issues such as, failed learning phase because it's not able to capture enough conversions for you, and the system's not able to learn. So you're kind of doing yourself a disservice by starting off with a very small budget. Instead, we want to make sure we're giving ourselves sufficient budget using the rule that I mentioned before, so that we're able to make sure that the first time you start running your campaign, you're already able to find success, rather than having to retest with a $10 budget over and over again, and then the model keep telling you, we are not getting sufficient data from this.
There are more questions, and I have now 2 of mine.
I see one saying, how well does a LAL audience work on NewsBreak? You might have to clarify what LAL audience is.
I think that's what digital marketing is
Oh,
about,
lookalike.
activation.
So currently, if you have Pixel installed for tracking the data points, event data, so that will be like page view or submit form and stuff like that. And in additional, if you are passing back, like earlier I mentioned, some of the highly recommended parameters such as like gender and age and stuff like that, you will be able to use, we're going to have lookalike audience, coming very soon. So the first thing we want to do right now, the action item, is to make sure we're passing back all of those information so that we're able to build a lookalike audience for your campaign.
Great. And I want to add to your budget and this minimum budget size a very mundane evaluation from our daily lives. It's like I figured out, probably it's good analogies. I travel a lot for business to new places. When I come to a place I've never been to, like a new city, I go on Booking or Airbnb, but how do I pick up the best hotel? I need to have options. If I say, hey, I'll pick the first one, whatever it shows to me, I'll probably be wrong. And that's how the algo is wired, to show me not the best choice for me, but the best choice for the platform. So in Booking. So when you run limited budget, you're just not giving NewsBreak as a platform to pick up through a sufficient amount of choices to make the best one. So it should settle on something. If you run a bigger budget, it creates those experiences, learns about which audience works, creates those impressions, clicks, conversions, basically a full funnel with the feedback loop. And it helps to successfully pass the learning stage and optimize. Same with hotels. You check one, you go for it, well, you might be lucky. But if you check like 5 or 6, check some reviews, check the locations, do basic research, then you'll get a good place.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome analogy. I see another question coming in. Does NewsBreak have the ability to exclude an audience rather than only targeting? Yes, the short answer is yes, but I want to dive a little bit more deep in this. We have a few ways to exclude audience. One is through the audience targeting directly built in within your ad set level. So that is the targeting that allow you to choose what age group you want to target. You have the option to target unlimited, which is all age group. We usually recommend to start off with the unlimited targeting so that the model is able to optimize on its own. But after you've run the audience report and everything, we have ability for you to target age group by, I would say, chunks. So like 18 to 30 would be like one bracket, 30 to like 45 would be another bracket, and then all the way up to like 60 plus would be one bracket. You can select multiple or you can only select one. We usually recommend to select multiple, maybe excluding specific. So just don't check that specific bracket as kind of your targeting choice. That's one way to do the audience exclusion. Another way is if you have leads that's previously already converted and you have like their email address, you will be able to upload a hash file of that email address into our audience management tool, and specifically go into your ad set level and select to exclude that audience file that you uploaded. So that will identify the user within our app that are with those email addresses and say, oh, these people already have converted before. We won't show the ad to those people again.
And great, your hash is like with everybody else is SHA 256, right?
Correct. Correct.
And that's another value of RedTrack, because with RedTrack, you own your data. So actually in your logs, you have all those hashes for all the emails if you capture them, and you can export other emails, upload them to NewsBreak. And moreover, you can also capture but not send to NewsBreak the leads that are not qualified, for example, and then accumulate those emails and also upload them to NewsBreak, limiting the at least tiny bit further the search parameters for your ads. Great. And while someone else is typing, that's great. We have so many questions. I have one from myself. Am I right to assume, given what you told about NewsBreak, that your audience and the engagement of your audience with the content is pretty consistent? So they are frequently on the platform, checking through probably the same set of news topics, because that's what NewsBreak is about.
Yeah. So I would say we have 40 million monthly active users, and I would say our users are pretty consistent. It's usually the older demographic that likes to look at the news either first thing in the morning when they wake up, do their daily news check, or people that will check after work. After they got off work, they look at the news, what's happening today. And so I would say the users that are using NewsBreak app are very consistent. They almost like a routine. They have a routine of, need to get my daily kind of news information in. So yeah, I would say they're very consistent. They're checking on a daily basis, and our 30-day retention rate is actually very, very good, which means that people actually really like the content of our app, and they're keeping the app for over 30 days instead of just like being curious, like what's NewsBreak, and then download it and delete it. So yeah, the user, I would say, are very, very loyal to NewsBreak's app and all the news articles on our platform.
And that's actually, I'll take on the other question, that the repeat audience. This is why what Jen said, a NewsBreak has a consistent audience. And if you run different types of ads to the same consistent audience, people may not figure out, hey, I actually applied to that. They're looking for the best offer. They'll keep applying, and you'll get the same leads over and over again. So that's what you do basically on a daily basis. Like in the ages past, we used to upload a list of negative keywords to Google Ads. Now you basically got your leads from RedTrack, all those hashed emails, and upload them back to NewsBreak, so you don't show them the ads again. And if you make it a routine, maybe slightly automated with all the tools available on the market, NewsBreak will not show the ads to people who already converted the first time for that particular offer. And this will mitigate significantly the complaints from the advertiser, because NewsBreak knows the emails. So same person will not, allegedly, but highly likely, because people, especially my age and older, we don't change emails on the fly. So they will not just show the ads to the same person for the same ad second, third, fourth time, because it's already filtered out. This is a great solution.
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's a really good answer.
We have some time left with the call today. It's already my personal record as to number of questions compared to number of participants. Thank you, everybody. Jenny, thank you very much for all those insights. I'm glad I'm here and learned a lot, because I sometimes got questions about NewsBreak myself. Now I know how to answer them, not only about tracking. Do we have more questions today? You can also type, no, it's okay, thank you, we had enough. Time to do something else. I have nothing else to do because it's raining from 10 a.m. in the morning where I am. So I can stay here as long as we need. Okay, more is coming. Meanwhile, thank you very much. Thank you. Maybe we can use those couple of moments to ask you for a feedback. What was the most insightful thing? Just mention one It will help us prepare for the next webinars, maybe do them like live streams, and what we can do better. Please, if you have liked the webinar, if you want to help us make the next one better, please share those 2 simple things. We don't need like more than a couple of minutes. So what was the best insight for you, like the key takeaway from the this presentation today, and what we as organizers and presenters can make better next time? This will help us a lot. Thank you. And while you're thinking about that, I'll entertain you with the story that I decided to do, so we can take the last 4 minutes on the call today. Is that I was working in NGO, and the head of this organization was the guy from Canada. He came all the way back to the small town and lived. We helped other kids, and he did an exercise for us. He gathered us in the center, took a dream catcher, and this is the best audience. I don't have to explain what a dream catcher is. I guess everybody knows. So he took a dream catcher, told a very beautiful story about this dream catcher, how authentic it is, and then put it in the middle of the table and said, hey, sorry, on the stool in the middle of the circle of us, some 15 people, anybody can take this dream catcher and tell something, just a sentence. And he retreated back to his seat, and all of us were sitting in silence for unimaginable time. I was the first to stood up and take this dream catcher and say something, but it was 17th or 15th minute. So 15 minutes we were sitting in silence, just gathering courage to say something. Now it's good we don't have to do it here. Maybe feedback will come later. Thank you very much for kind words. Thank you. So, Jenny, it was my pleasure. Christina, sorry we were not able to let you in to be our lovely moderator today. We'll learn from that and we'll do better. This is nice to practice. And thank you, everybody, for being with us today, for your amazing questions. See you next time.
Thank you so much for everyone attending. We'll have this recorded and we'll also share the deck with you guys after. Feel free to look through the deck and sign up through the QR code on the last slide of our deck.
Let me do the last slide of the deck with the QR code. And I don't see it. So, but you know the links.
Yes. We'll have the QR code linked for you guys. On the follow-up email that we're going to be sending out to you guys. So feel free to use that QR code and sign up to via that QR code to NewsBreak and get started. We're more than happy to chat with you. And yeah, thank you so much, Vlad, for hosting today. You're doing an absolute amazing job hosting today.
It was
it's really
my pleasure.
Nice. It's really nice.
For Christina. We were not able to attune, so somebody has taken responsibility for. Good. It was my pleasure. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time.
Yeah.